Alright, so let's suppose you're back here in the spring of 2014, anime season. You know, taking a look at some pretty good shows. No Game No Life, Haikyuu, frickin' JoJo's, you know. Ping Pong, one of the best animes still for the last few years. Love Live, I love Love Live. Baby Steps, that's a good show. That's actually a pretty good season, but perhaps you noticed a bad video game adaptation, Atelier no blah 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 Eskan Logi. Perhaps for some reason you weren't overwhelmed with all this brilliant anime and perhaps watched it all. Perhaps you're in your last year of high school, you know it wasn't necessary to try anymore and you dedicated your time to anime exclusively. Perhaps you were somehow connected to the charm of the world or the characters or the low budget, some sort of affinity, some sort of unspeakable connection. And so, you know, maybe one day you're browsing your local video game shop and you notice a certain video game and go, hey, you know, I watched that. And you know, I also own a PS3 and you know what, you just jam it. And so you put it in, you boot it up and you notice it looks like, you know, already 20,000 times better than the show. So you buy it, play it, you kind of enjoy it. It's got some enjoyable characters, some interesting time-based mechanics, a pretty cool world. So you're feeling pretty comfortable and chill with the game, and then bam, 1 year, you know, half 30 or so through the game, and you're like, oh, sick, boss battle, cool, I can do this. So you normal attack, you don't do anything. So you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll use my super strong skills. It still doesn't do anything. Well, no, that's a tad unusual. So, you know, you pull out one of your super OP items because the game's about making items and shit, and, you know, it just annihilates everything. So you throw it at that, and, you know, barely a fraction, and you're like, well, shit. You proceed to get thoroughly pummeled. You lose time, money, pride. You start questioning your motivation. You start, you know, you're almost into Atelier. You start thinking about the mechanics. You can't level up because of the weird time-based mechanics, so, like, what do? That's when you start playing the fucking game. That's what you do. You think, you know, weapon making, armor forging, item synthesis. I haven't really looked into how to properly kind of do these things. How can I use my time efficiently alongside these mechanics to somehow get better? So you start saving before doing anything, you start planning out your strategies on paper, you start reading the game's fucking encyclopedia, and now you're so freaking in. So you beat the game, and you're like, you know what, that was pretty tight. And then you proceed to, you know, actually kind of research the game. And you look it up, you find out it's the second in the trilogy as like the 14th fucking Atelier game. So you're like, man, this franchise is probably gonna take over my life. And man, you know, it kind of does. The Arlen trilogy is tight, the last two of the Dust trilogy are super amazing, and the Mysterious trilogy, well, you know, maybe the last game will be good.